Hey Cindy, today is Thursday, January 28th, and I decided to make my video on my bed today. So, since you read me a story last night, I'm going to read you part of a story that I'm reading. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Chapter 2. Harry went down to breakfast the next morning to find 3 Dursleys already sitting around the kitchen table. They were watching a brand new television, a welcome home for the summer present for Dudley, who had been complaining loudly about the long walk between the fridge and the television in the living room. Dudley had spent most of the summer in the kitchen, his piggy little eyes fixed on the screen and his 5 chins wobbling as he ate continually. Harry sat down between Dudley and Uncle Vernon, a large beefy man with a very little neck and a lot of mustache. Far from wishing Harry a happy birthday, none of the Dursleys made any sign that they had noticed Harry enter the room. But Harry was far used... I know you said you hate reading out loud, but you're actually really good at it, and I actually like reading out loud, and I'm kind of terrible at it. Let's try this again. Far from wishing Harry a happy birthday, none of the Dursleys made any sign that they had noticed Harry enter the room. But Harry was far too used to this to care. He helped himself to a piece of toast, and then looked up at the reporter on the television, who was halfway through a report on an escaped convict. The public is warned that Black is armed and extremely dangerous. A special hotline has been set up, and any sighting of Black should be reported immediately. No need to tell us he's no good, snorted Uncle Vernon. No need to tell us he's no good, snorted Uncle Vernon, staring over the top of his newspaper at the prisoner. Look at the state of him, the filthy layabout. Look at his hair. He shot a nasty look sideways at Harry, whose untidy hair had always been a source of great annoyance to Uncle Vernon. Compared to the man on the television, however, whose gaunt face was surrounded by a matted, elbow-length tangle, Harry felt very well-groomed indeed. The reporter had reappeared. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will announce today. Hang on, barked Uncle Vernon, staring furiously at the reporter. You didn't tell us where that maniac's escaped from. What use is that? Lunatic could be coming up the street right now. Aunt Petunia, who was bony and horse-faced, whipped around and peered intently out of the kitchen window. Harry knew Aunt Petunia would simply love to be the one to call the hotline number. She was the nosiest woman in the world, and spent most of her life spying on the boring, law-abiding neighbors. When will they learn, said Uncle Vernon, pounding the table with his large purple fist, that hanging's the only way to deal with these people? Very true, said Aunt Petunia, who was still squinting into next door's runner beans. Uncle Vernon drained his teacup, glanced at his watch, and added, I'd better be off in a minute, Petunia. Marge's train gets in at 10. Harry, whose thoughts had been upstairs with the broomstick servicing kit, was brought back to earth with an unpleasant bump. Aunt Marge, he blurted out. She's not coming here, is she? Aunt Marge was Uncle Vernon's sister, even though she was not a blood relative of Harry's, whose mother had been Aunt Petunia's sister. He had been forced to call her aunt all his life. Aunt Marge lived in the country, in a house with a large garden, where she bred bulldogs. She didn't often stay at Privet Drive, because she couldn't bear to leave her precious dogs, but each of her visits stood out horribly vividly in Harry's mind. That's all for now. I know you've never read the Harry Potter books, Sydney, so I think I'm just going to start reading them to you. But I'm starting on the 3rd one. Sorry. If you want me to start on the 1st one, I can do that. That'd be cool. I can do that. How have you been? It seems like it's been a really long time since you made a video telling me about what's going on in your life. So I think you should do that, because that'd be really cool. And I feel like we need to have another challenge sometime soon, but I don't know what it should be. I gave the last one, so I challenge you to make a challenge for me. Can I do that? Or is that, I don't know. I just think we need to do something fun. I think I'm going to tell you a joke. Why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use honeycombs. What do sneezes wear on their feet? Ah, shoes! One's funny because it sounds like a sneeze. Oh, I love these terrible jokes so much. You know that, though. These are all Laffy Taffy jokes, by the way. The best jokes in the entire world. What's brown and sticky? A stick. I'll see you tomorrow, Sydney.